So, welcome, guys. I think it's my pleasure and privilege to present to you AML Rank 1. So, he's All India Rank 1 in the present INSS exam. So, I think great and hearty congratulations to you. We've been actually searching for AML Rank 1 and finally he's just contacted us. So, welcome,
Sir,
Dr. Saurabh. Welcome to the show.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, Saurabh, first of all, again, I'm repeating myself. So, congrats. So,
Thank
where are you from, Saurabh? And where do your
uh,
MBBS from? Where do you do your MD from? Which batch do you belong to? Could you just introduce
yes,
yourself first?
yes, sir. I'm from Pune, Maharashtra, sir, and I have done my MBBS from BJ Government Medical College in Pune only, and then I had joined my MDA medicine in AIMS Rishikesh in the January 2021 batch. So I completed my MD this year in January 2024.
So, it's your first attempt at INSS.
No, sir, I had given the November INI as well.
November
I was,
INSS. What was your rank
this
in the November INSS?
common rank was 23, sir, and AIMS rank was 32.
So, significant jump in improvement.
Yes, sir.
So how would yeah? So every getting rank one in an all India exam is such a prestigious thing. It lasts throughout your life. It's a sense of accomplishment. Now, could you tell
Sir,
us how did you approach this subject of cardiology? How did you approach INISS right from your
yes,
first year MD all the way to your present status?
yes, sir. Sir, I was interested in cardiology right since my MBBS days, but I had not fixed on it. But during my last semester of MD residency, I had fixed on attempting for cardiology only. So during that time, I used to I had subscribed for Marrow, and then I had started a dedicated preparation for cardiology in my last semester of MD medicine. So that helped me and for giving the November INI exam last year, and that played a huge part in this exam as well. Having a strong base and having read most of the topics before, so that really helped in attempting this exam. And I had for cardiologists specifically, base of my preparation was uh, mostly marrow notes only, so the videos and the notes from it. And I had almost listened to entire video lectures, all the videos, almost 2 to 3 times, sir. Major the common topics I had read, all watched the videos three to four times, and that really helped me in understanding the topic. Each time I used to watch the video or read the notes, I used to gain something more from it and understand the topic in better details. So that was a major part. And whatever else from the, if I've solved a question bank, then I would add the if the something I find extra or something else I have read, then I would add on to the notes itself from the marrow notes. So the notes were compiled and one topic in one place, so I tried to make them as much as possible. So the that helped me in the revision phase, where I didn't have to refer to the topics like from different places. Even the updates, some of the updates I used to add in the notes itself. So I used to know what was previous, what is the update, and if there is any landmark trial which led to the update, then I would add that as well in the notes itself. So question that was a theory part. And then MCQ based preparation for MCQ solving is very important, especially in cardiology, where you can have application of those the knowledge which you have read. So that MCQ solving really helped me. And in the first attempt I could not attempt much of the question bank, but I made sure that during the second attempt, when I had time after my MD exam, I made sure that I will solve as many tests and as much of the Q bank I could.
So how long did you take to see the entire videos? I think there are 82 to 85 hours of videos. So how
Yes,
long
sir.
did it take you to see the entire videos?
Sir, it would first time it took a lot of time. First time when I started understanding and simultaneously taking down the points, that took I could watch only at 3 videos per day. Three my
So you could
then
watch
later
3 videos per day.
when yes, when I was like having a dedicated time for it, I could.
Sure, sure. So, like, how many questions did you attempt in this year's INSS?
This year, out of 80, I had attempted 77 questions. Two EP questions were extremely which I could not understand, so I had left those, and one Vora Paxer question.
Yeah, so I think one of the important things is try to attempt as many questions as possible. So I've been
Yes,
interviewing a lot of people from across for the past 3 years. And almost
sir.
consistently, they say that you have to attempt at least more than 72 questions. At least around 75
Yes,
questions is the sweet spot.
yes,
And
yes,
again,
sir.
as I said, you have to know which questions to leave. I think the previous two topper interviews also, which I had done, they have left those EP questions. Again, as I say,
Yes,
that leaving the ball is equally important. So if
sir.
rather
Yes,
than
sir.
getting a negative, it's useful rather leave the question and attempt the next question. So
Yes, sir.
leaving the ball is also equally important. At the risk of
Yes, sir.
repeating myself, I'm saying that.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
how many questions do you think you would have got correct around that around 77?
Sir, I had seen my scorecard. So
Yeah.
55 point,
What's your score?
55.6 in theory. I had got
So that's out of 80, I think, right?
88. Yes, sir.
So I think it's around. I can't
Uh,
calculate it right now. It must be around say 70% or something like that.
yes,
Right? 60 out of,
20.
yeah, it's around 70%. So I think
Yes,
that
sir.
again, it shows that you need not you guys can calculate the exact score. So, but
Uh,
I think it's pretty certain that you need not go for the 90% or the 95%. Even 70% secures you rank one.
yes, sir.
So I think
Definitely.
I think it's very important for you guys to realize that. So automatically, sometimes we try to reach a lot. We try to say that. So if you got 55, I think you would have got around probably around 60 questions, right? With all the
Uh,
negatives.
yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because I
So
had
I think.
attempted. Uh,
Yeah, I
I
think
had.
around 60 out of 80 would be fair. So
Yes.
you have the
Yes.
option of leaving or getting around 20 questions. So sometimes we
Uh,
try to overreach ourselves. We try to
right.
mark a lot of questions we should not,
Right,
and
sir.
that brings down. It's a fairly significant negative marking. It really
Negative.
brings down our rank. So again,
Right.
trying not to get negative, trying not to overreach is probably that important as well.
Yes, sir.
What changed actually? So first when you wrote, you got a pretty decent rank, but now you got a sensational rank. So what changed in this 6 months? What mistakes do you think that you made in your first attempt that you corrected in your second attempt?
Yes, sir. During my first attempt, sir, I watched the videos, but I was couldn't revise them well. I was simultaneously appearing for my MD exams as well, so I did not get a dedicated time for reading cardiology in great details. So that was one thing which I improved after during the 3 months of my preparation in the second attempt. I made sure that I read cardiology, like 80% of my preparation time I read the cardiology, and so that one changed. And question solving, sir. I solved a lot of questions, and that also consolidates the concepts, and as well it helps in during the actual exam where you have to like make your decisions fast and know what to attempt, which question to spend time on, or which question to leave. So that decision making helps, and it comes after you when you practice the questions and give tests, especially the mock tests. So that help, and application of the knowledge also helps, sir.
So what do you feel? The questions are more conceptual or factual? So what do you feel? How was the exam as such, the INSS, in your opinion?
Yes, it was a mixed bag, sir. Some of the questions were straight one-liners and simple, straightforward questions. But some of the questions were clinical. They had asked a lot of ECGs as well, and the electrophysiological intracardiac electrograms also they had asked. So those were like kind of bouncer for me, which I chose to leave. And
I think it's a well left question.
yes, sir.
So, do you feel that there's a lack of time? So, we have 80 questions. Do you feel that there's a lack of time, or there's a fairly good amount of time to answer these questions?
80 questions and 90 minutes, so roughly around one question per minute is a adequate time. But if we spend a lot of time on a particular question, which we spend time on maybe recollecting or choosing between two options, then that time crunch might be felt. But if practiced enough, then you have that, like we say, a gut feeling that no, I should go with this question, this option. So that comes with practice. So it's a fair amount of time, sir, I would say.
I think what is important is that what you said. I think practicing MCQs also makes a lot of sense because you have this
Yes, sir.
all except, you have this double negative,
Yes, sir.
and all,
Yes, sir.
especially the last teams, there were a lot of double negatives, which might
Yes, sir.
confuse you. So I think
Mhm.
practicing a lot of questions makes a great deal of sense. And I encourage all the candidates not only to read and learn, but also to practice and improve their skills in solving MCQs, because I think you would
Yes,
get 4 5 MCQs extra correct if you are practicing more MCQs. And as you said,
right.
practicing more MCQs will give you a gut feeling, and hopefully that gut feeling is right, and you might get more questions to solve, more answers. So
Yes, sir.
yeah. So how was it important? Like, did you read Braunwald for preparing cardiology?
No, sir. So sometimes I would refer to the table in important topics only, but I could not read the theory at all, and not the content, but tables and some images I could refer.
So actually, we have three different toppers. One had actually read Braunwald, one had read the tables and charts of Braunwald. I think you have not read that detailed Braunwald. So
No,
it
sir.
is possible. Yeah. So I think it is still possible to crack a seat even if you have not read Braunwald, right?
Yes, sir. But you
Or
should be thorough with one source which covers, like sir had also covered. You had also covered content, most of the content from Brownwood. So it was as good as knowing the extract of Brownwood. So that definitely helps, sir.
so, how did you approach medicine as a subject? Like, should you study medicine because you're basically less than 6 months post MD? Probably medicine
Yes.
is fresh on your mind. So, how is it? Is it sufficient enough that whatever you study for your MD is enough, or do you have to put separate extra efforts for medicine as a subject per se?
Sir, that was one part of preparation I was most uncertain about, the source for medicine, because it's such a vast subject. Could not cover everything in great details. But whatever during the MD I had read, I would consolidate those topics, and mainly to refer to the previous year's questions. So they will ask, not if not the same exact question, they will ask the topic repeats. So those topics I would definitely recommend. And previous year's medicine papers I had gone through and read, particularly those topics I had read from Harrison's. And some of the topics they do us offbeat topics such as aging or geriatrics, and the topics which we tend to ignore during our medicine residency, the especially the last parts of Harrison or the initial cardinal manifestation part. So those topics, I had gone through the charts and tables. I would say at most of the questions, like out of 30, more than 15 questions are from the tables of Harrison. So that is very important to go through the Harrison tables. So
Tables of evidence. So,
yes,
did
sir.
you prepare for biostats as such? Because they usually ask questions on biostats. So, do you
Yes, sir.
prepare for biostats?
Yes, sir. I had watched a few videos and solved a few questions only. But this time they did not ask any biostats question.
Usually,
Last
they
time I
ask around 3 to 5 questions from
three to
biostats.
five.
Actually,
Yes, sir. And
I
if they are
think,
going
yeah.
to the 3 to 5 questions, that forms a big part of medicine. Once if questions are if are asked on biostats, and those are not very high level questions, like they used to ask in our MD preparation from SPM, but those are good questions, quality questions, and easily doable questions. So they might ask during the next exam. So it's always better to go through those.
So you have finished your INSS, the MCQ part. So you, I think, got around 60 questions, right? So how, and we got selected for your stage two. So how did you approach stage two? How was your stage two preparation?
Uh,
Now stage two is an online exam as
yes,
of right now. So how did
yes,
you
sir.
approach it?
One thing that definitely helped me was having gone through one previous attempt of interviews. So I knew what was the pattern, and they would give only like 7 to 10 minutes per candidate. and ask around 8 to 10 questions. So I was familiar with the pattern. I was familiar with the thesis part. The first question invariably they ask is about the
This
thesis.
thesis.
Yes, sir. So that I had done, like I was prepared with my thesis statement. It should be a very short 4 to 5 lines of concise summary of your thesis. So if it's a cardiology based thesis, then they might go into the details about how did you inclusion exclusion criteria or into the other details. But I did not have a cardiology based thesis, so they
Thesis.
just asked me about the conclusion in 2 lines, and that's it. That no more questions on thesis. So that was first question, and that will be the opening statement for everyone. So you should be thoroughly prepared with it, I would say. And apart
So,
from that, uh,
so is there a what point is so is there a particular need for preparation for INSS stage two? Do they ask random questions, or could you actually prepare for those questions?
uh, sir, one thing I did was go through the notes, especially the management parts of most of the topics. They would ask about the management parts only. They would not ask the pathophysiology or extremely detailed theory, but they will ask generally how will you manage this case. So going through just the management part, if you are short on time, will definitely freshen up your memory, because you cannot recollect there. You cannot sit and think about the answer over there. They will just move on to the next question if you are not able to answer promptly. So to have those management protocols or whatever is the algorithm freshly in your mind definitely helps. So that one thing I would say that for the major topics like MI, they had asked. Uh, First question was inferior wall MI with shock. What is like? How will you approach? So that part, like, if you are start fumbling over there only, then they will not like it. So that was the first question. So I started, and then they went on ahead and asked if I was aware about any recent trial about mechanical support, circulatory support. The danger shock trial, I had just read the name for Impella, and I could promptly answer that. So maybe that was something they did like it.
What
And
I found
so-
what I found from asking students is that they ask some random questions, but they keep on increasing the level until you cannot
yes,
answer. So
yes,
if they'll ask you something on danger shock trial, then they'll ask you the what is impella. You answer, they'll go for the next step, and then till you cannot answer. Probably they are just
yes,
trying to find your ceiling of your ceiling level at that time.
yes,
So
sir. They,
you have finished. You have gone through. You've gone through actually how we prepared during his MD, during how many questions he attempted during stage, during the
sir.
step one of the INSS, how we
Yes,
approach
sir.
step two. So and you have crossed the gate actually. So if you were to advise your juniors, so
Sir.
when would you advise them to start preparation for the? If they are focusing on INSS, when would you
Sir.
approach ask them to start preparation for the INSS and yeah, when would you approach them, ask them to start preparation for their INSS?
Um, if I would advise them to choose their specialty early on, like whenever as early as you can. If you know your specialty, then if not dedicated to a preparation for INI during the initial days, but you can at least start. If you're interested in the subject, you will by default go through the details about those subjects. So I would say that after your thesis submission, which is one almost first 1 semester before the final exam, I would say after your thesis is completed, you can start dedicated preparation. So which I did from in my sixth semester, final semester of MD medicine.
Would you say that around 6 months to 9 months is when 6 months is a fair enough time for INSS preparation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is a fair amount of time if done adequately. You can, but it's also important that you read rest of the medicine well as well, because that will not only help you during your MD exam, but 30 questions is quite a lot for in the INI exam also.
Exactly.
So
So
that
yeah, please.
yes,
So
so that part should not leave. You should try to cover it as much as possible.
so you have so how was the Marrow videos actually? So how was Marrow cardiology videos? How was the grant test? How was the MCQ bank? So how did it help you?
Yes, sir. I started my preparation for cardiology with Marrow videos only, sir. So, firstly, I used to watch the topics which I felt interesting in the initial part, was which we used to see during our medicine residency also. So, for ACS patients or heart failure patients, that definitely helped even in my patient management also. So, those were very interesting to know how a cardiologist approaches these patients. So that definitely helped me. And after that, I started watching the videos which I had no clue about, like especially the pediatric cardiology part. That is, I think sir has done an exceptional study about pediatric cardiology and he has concised it so well. Something which were very new to us, like cat studies, sir. This four-step approach about which sir had given, that I think I will remember it for the rest of the life and apply it
I
also.
think you'll be studying probably in some big shot center. I think the four-step approach is basically just to get an MCQ right. When you go and tell your consultant, he'll probably smile probably. So
Yes,
anyway, it's
but
nice hearing it. Yeah.
yes, sir. You also mentioned that you went into great depths to understand and then prepare the videos, and that that crux which you have given. I don't think any question will come as in the pediatric cardiology beyond what you have taught. So that was very well, and it's a new topic for medicine residents. So that understanding which we get uh, is very well, sir. And the other parts such as echo or stress test, which we don't see as medicine residents, so that also those topics also have been covered very well. And they and you understand the topic, it's not just for an MCQ, you will understand the topic as such, and then know why this management is followed. So that was way that I found very interesting, sir. It was the videos were very interesting, not just informative. They, like, you want to watch the entire video. You don't want to skip or anything, or just go to the notes section. You want to watch the video, and how you explain it was very well, sir.
So how was the Marrow Q Bank and the Grand Test series?
Yes, sir. QBank was a good, quite a good amount of MCQs were there, and the topics were also almost all topics were covered. Even the MCQs also get updated as the recent any change on guidelines have come. That I found well. Um, QBank, some of the questions were from different articles which we don't read. So that can be a source of information as well, apart from the videos and notes. So,
Thing is that since I was once an MD medicine resident, so I basically know like which all areas probably your PGs are likely weak. So I try whenever you
yes,
try to create a video, you try to focus on that particular area.
yes, sir. Yes,
Like
sir.
why you do an exercise stress test. Don't
Yes,
simply refer the patient for an exercise stress test.
yes,
So all those
yes.
things we try to. But the problem is when you try to teach pediatrics residents, I don't have that background, so it becomes much more difficult for me. So if
Right,
a
sir.
MD pediatrics person watches it, he might find it a bit uh, like he's not gone through that MD internal medicine experience.
Right, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So it's far easier for an MD medicine graduate because I have walked through that particular path.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, it's a pleasure hearing such nice reviews from you. So so anyway, I think you have your pick of colleges. You have any particular college in mind for you?
Not particularly, but mostly AIMS Delhi or PGI. I will think about both of these and talk to my seniors.
Exactly. So I think choosing your college actually makes a great difference. Studying from a central institute gives you a certain brand
Sir.
value, especially if you're planning
Yes,
for a fellowship outside India. I think getting
Right.
getting a central institute like AIMS or PGI definitely gives you an edge when you apply for fellowships outside India. So I think it is an extremely wise decision to go for a branded college, because you're not probably going to stop here. You're probably going to go for some fellowship outside. So lastly, this is the question I usually ask first. What attracted you towards cardiology as a career?
Uh, yes, sir. I had prepared this question for my interview. They won't ask, but just in case. So actually, there were three major reasons, sir. First is because of the prevalence of cardiovascular diseases is so high and in India. So that I think it can be a greater impact for the patients, like having a cardiologist. So that was one thing. Second is the personal liking, sir, because of since my MBBS, I was attracted since physiology, reading physiology, I was attracted to cardiology. So that is one area of interest for me. And third, I would say for because maximum research is happening in cardiology only. So that is also an area of interest. So having research and other opportunities. So for these three, I would say cardiology is my choice.
I think cardiology is one area where you need to actually like the subject. So either you are
Yes,
fortunate enough to like the subject before you join DM, or
yes,
you might like the subject when you study your DM. But if you don't like the subject, it's very difficult to survive in cardiology. It's too
right,
hectic. There are a lot of
right.
things going on.
Yes,
You have to be in the wards, you have to be in the cath lab, you have to be doing a lot of work in the especially in research with your
right,
thesis, and you might have to conduct studies. It becomes much more difficult. So I
right, sir.
think you can take cardiology as a subject provided you have a personal preference and a strong liking for it. And if you
Yes,
see
sir.
all our toppers, they took cardiology because they started loving the subject right from their MBBS, or at least in their early MD days.
Yes, sir.
So, Dr. Saurabh, actually, it's been a pleasure. We have gone, I've gone into some more details with you than the other candidates, because we want to know how rank one thinks, and because it is you are the leader of the entire group right now, and I hope that many of our Marrow students who are following this, and future MD graduates actually see this interview, and try to follow in your footsteps, try to mimic some of your approaches, and
Right.
hopefully someday in the future I might be having another interview with them. So thank you, Saurabh. Thank you for your
Thank you, sir.
time, and
Thank you,
have a
sir.
nice day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.